What is up, you guys? Your boy MEXzCali, and I hope you have a wonderful day. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to install and review the LED kit for the PlayStation 4 controller from eXtremeRate. This video is sponsored by eXtremeRate, and they were kind enough to send a kit my way. That way I can review it and install it and show you guys how to do it. And they were also really kind for me to get a second one. That way I can give one back to you guys. If you want one of these, all you have to do is make sure to leave a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And also comment down below where you're from, not exactly your location, like your address and all that stuff. Just if you are living in the US, tell me you're living in the US. If you're living outside of the US, like Australia, United Kingdom, just let me know what part of the world you're from. And I'll be choosing a winner from the comment section below. So best luck to all of you guys. This is gonna be a bit of a long video, so I'm gonna put the times right here for each thing. For example, like the installation, the review, the functions, and the giveaway. I might put it right here, so stay all the way till the end to watch that. Before you start, you just make sure that you have the second generation for the PS4 controller. That would be the one that has the light on top of the touchpad. If it doesn't have it when you turn it on, you can't install this LED kit on it. Okay, so let's open the box real quick. First thing you're gonna see is gonna be the instructions on how to put it on. And if you're like me, you're gonna love this because it has pictures. But if you don't want to, read these and all that, just keep on watching this video. The second thing you'll be looking at, it's the actual LED kit. It's in this bag right here. And then you have some screws and some stuff that you're gonna be needing, and everything else is included already in the box. The buttons, the analog sticks, the tools that you're gonna be needing, the triggers, it's all here. So you won't be needing anything else but what's already in this kit. First, you're gonna grab your screwdriver, and there is 4 screws in the back of your controller that you're gonna be taking off. There will be 2 on the top and then 2 at the bottom. Now that we got the screws off, just set them to the side. And now let's grab the orange tool, which is like a little wedge. The best way to do this is to grab the bottom part right here, pull it up, get your wedging tool right in there. And there you go. Now you gotta be really fragile with all these really thin cables, because if you mess those up, there's no coming back from it. You'll mess your whole controller up. So first thing, you're gonna be pulling this one out, just gently, because you don't want to break that. The second thing you'll be doing right here, this is the battery. So you want to disconnect it, because if not, you still are running power through it. So put the battery to the side once that's done. There's a screw right in the middle of that. You're gonna get that off with a screwdriver. Okay. Now put that to the side. Make sure you keep all your parts. There's extra like screws and little springs, but not every piece is like included already in here. So just make sure you put everything on a specific place. Now there's a little tiny cable all the way at the top. You want to pull that, but you want to be gentle with it. There you go. The little cable that we were talking about earlier, put it in the little hole right here. Otherwise you'll be pulling on it, and you do not want to do that. Now we put that there. That's where the buttons are. And then the motherboard and everything else, we put it on top for a second. So this is the fun part, because you actually get to put all the buttons in. So right here, want to remove that. That's where your D-pad is at. We'll put the new buttons here in a second. on the touchpad. Push it from the bottom up and it will unhook from it. Now you set this to the side, and here we're going to take this plate off and replace it with the one that we have in the box. Now on the touchpad, there's a little hook on each side. You want to push down on it to get it out and replace it with the other part inside the box. Now here comes the fun part, putting the buttons back where they belong. Now just remember how your buttons go: triangle on top, square to the left, circle to the right, and then the X at the bottom. Now we put the plastic covers back on. They have little holes on the corners that actually have to fit in there tightly to make sure that they won't come off. And you just push it in. Now we put the touchpad back on, same as we took it off. We go from the bottom up. Now the button side, we move it to the side, and we get to the motherboard. First thing you're gonna do is take the analog sticks out. Now we go to the bumpers. Just wiggle it off of it. Same thing on the other side. Now to get the triggers, there's a little hook in the back. You push down a little bit and push up and wiggle it out of there. Now there's this little plastic that we have to take out. Just don't lose that. Now here comes the fun part. We're gonna put this aside for a second and grab the actual LED kit. Okay, so there's sections that we're gonna have to fold. There's one on top, and it shows that we have to fold it because there's little lines with cuts that is pretty much indicates that we have to fold. So we're gonna fold that one, and there's one on the left side as well. So you leave this on there, you leave the blue one on there, you don't have to remove that. We're gonna put this one over the blue one. This section right here is gonna go in that little line. Gonna push it in nicely and tightly in there. Now these arrow looking things are gonna go where the triggers go. It has a designated area right there. Now remember that part that was folded? It's right here. And there is two little pieces of plastic sticking out. We're gonna put them right in there. Okay, now that they're in there, we put this back in place. There we go. Now, to get this more secure, there is a few pieces of plastic that are sticking out. You have to push into them. There's one right here. There are two in the middle, and there's one on the right side. You just push it so it sticks like that. Now remember the plastic pieces that we took off from the triggers? We're gonna put them back up in there. There's one that has a little hole on it, and then there's one that's whole. The one with a little hole, it goes to the bottom, and then the other one goes to the top. So you grab it and then shove it up in there. Same thing on the other side. Now we put the bumpers and triggers back up in there. Now just make sure to put the bumpers and triggers that come in the kit, because those have the outline for it to like glow through. Same thing on the other side. Bumper in, now the trigger. Now for the analog sticks, the LEDs have like a little like sticky paper on the bottom, so we're gonna remove that, work around this, and then stick it on there. And we put them on. They only go one way in, so don't worry about you know, messing up on that. Okay, now that we have this part done, we're gonna grab the part where the buttons are and then put it back on there. Don't forget about the little cable that is hooked up to the touchpad. That's gonna go on this section right here. Now this little wire has to be plugged back up, so just be careful with that one because it's really sensitive. And you'll know if it's fully back on there if the line, the white line, lines up with the top of this little gray box. Now this front plate, we've set it to the side and we're gonna work a little bit on the back plate. Now we're gonna remove these pieces right here. They're very easy to remove. And this piece right here, we're going to be removing it. This right here is where you plug in your controller to charge it. So pretty much we're gonna put the one that's in the box so it charges the actual kit as well. So before we put this on there, we're gonna plug this up. So right in this section, we're gonna insert this. And now we work in this section. Now we line this up correctly. Just make sure that the hole aligns properly on there, and then we screw it back up. These two strips, the thin one is gonna go onto this one, and the thick one is going to go to the motherboard. So we're going to hook up the thin one to the LED kit first. Now that we have that part on, we can plug it up to the motherboard. Now we grab these two cables. The smaller one goes onto the motherboard. Just make sure you push in right and tight in there, and the other one goes into the battery. And you'll see it flash, and that means that everything is working properly. Now that we are all done with everything, you just want to make sure that all the cables are out of the way so you don't squeeze anything down whenever you're closing it. Now we just want to make sure that everything is tightly in there. Everything's looking really nice. Heels, yeah. All the buttons are working so far. They're tight and everything. So the analogs, awesome. Now let's just screw it back up and then we're ready to go. Now I'm going to show you guys how to operate the LED kit. To turn it off and on, you hold the left bumper right on the D-pad and circle for 10 seconds. Now to turn it back on, same thing. This LED kit has 7 different areas you can change colors to. Each set of bumpers and trigger have a different area. So if you want this pink, they both are going to be pink. The D-pad is a one area. Each analog stick is an area. The middle button is one area. And circle, square, and triangle, and X are a different area. And you cannot change each individual button into a different color. You can only set an area to a specific color that you want. There's 10 colors you can choose from. It's red, yellow, green, cayenne, blue, pink, purple, gradient, fast blink, and colorless. Colorless, what it does is that there's not going to be a color to it. So if you wanted to have the analog sticks turned off but everything else turned on, you can use colorless on them for them not to glow. Now if you want to change the color to a specific area, you hold the left bumper in the circle for 5 seconds. And it's always going to be starting on the D-pad, and it's always going to start with red. So if you want to select a different color, you have to hit right on the D-pad. And you cannot go back to a specific color, so you have to go all the way around. Once you have selected the color that you want, you hit the left bumper and circle for just a second, and it will go to the next area. Now to exit out of this, you hit bumper and circle for 5 seconds to save the colors you want, and you're good to go. My personal favorite setting will be gradient because it changes to a different color every other second, and you can actually see the transition from one color to another, and they all are linked to the same color. It's not like you have one orange here, one yellow, and all this. It all links together, so they all have the same color. Now here's my review. I do love the LED kit because it does give it some flair to your controller. You know, it gives some life to, you know, just having a controller that is just plain boring, you know? What I really love about this controller is that you can have different colors in each section. There is 7 sections in this whole controller. There is 10 colors you can choose from, such as red, green, yellow, blue, pink, purple, and so on. And there's also another one that is called colorless. If you don't want an area to be lit up, you use colorless in it. Something that I do want to tell to eXtremeRate, this is an amazing product, and I'm not trying to bash it in any ways. So thank you for sending this my way. I'm just trying to give some feedback back to you guys. Something that I do want to point out is that the analog sticks, when they're moved, as right now they're okay, but whenever you move them, it does leak a lot of light. So it can be a bit distracting whenever you're playing and you're trying to concentrate. You might like see all this flashing lights in your face, so they might like distract you a bit. Yes, you can use colorless on it and, you know, eliminate that from your controller, so it is not an issue. Feedback to the company, what I would personally do is maybe instead of using all clear plastic on the analog sticks, maybe tint them to like a little bit of black into them, so it still looks good, but it still leaks some light, but not so harsh on your face. That's what I would personally do. But you know, to different people is different. You know, everybody has a different opinion. That's my personal opinion. It might not affect you at all. You might be able to play good and everything, but this is just my personal opinion. Another thing that I do want to point out is that whenever you're changing a color on it, you can go forwards, but you can't go backwards. Like for example, if you messed up and you wanted yellow, but you're already like ahead, you have to go all the way through all the colors and get back to yellow. I wish there was, instead of just going forwards, maybe you could program the other button on the D-pad to go back. that's another, you know, something that I would actually implement later on if possible. But that's not gonna drag me away from loving this kit because I truly liked how the aesthetics of it. So that was it for this video, guys. I appreciate you sticking around all the way to the end, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Big shout out and thank you to eXtremeRate for sending this my way. Also, stick around because I have the remap kit here with me as well, and I'll be doing a review on it very shortly. So till next time, guys, I love ya, take care, and peace.